Jean-François is a personal experience that affected me a great deal. And this occurred during the epidemic of meningitis in 2007 in Burkina Faso. At that time, I was in Ouagadougou at the Delgado Hospital, seeing the infectious disease physician who was there. And at the same time, I met Jean-François and his mother. I was chatted with his mother and had a typical story. Jean-François was an 18-year-old in perfect health, captain of the soccer team at his school, first in his class, a role model to his family and to his friends, who suddenly developed high fever, a headache, and was brought into the hospital a week before I saw him. He was desperately ill, in coma, and teetered between life and death for 3 or 4 days before his temperature finally responded to treatment with antibiotics. I saw him on the 7th day as he was about ready to be discharged, and was there when the infectious disease physician was talking to his mother. I'd had the opportunity to speak with him as well, and it was clear, and during my discussions, that this is a young man that had lost a lot of mental faculties as a result of this, and he was now stone deaf. And I remember the physician, as he was discussing with his mother, telling his mother that being deaf was not easy in Africa. And we finished our consultations and went back and returned back to Geneva, and I found his picture about maybe 6 or 8 weeks later, maybe a little bit more than that, a couple of months later. And I saw his picture and I said, I wonder what happened. And so I called Rodrigue Barry, who was our communications person, who was with me at the hospital when we were there. And he said, oh yes, he knew the family. And I said, would he mind dropping by just to see how Jean-François was doing? And so the following day I received a phone call from Rodrigue, and he said, I have bad news. He said, I got to the family and the family was in mourning. And I said, what happened? He said, apparently after Jean-François had returned to the house, like the whole family had adjusted, they had developed their own sign language, and he was doing perfectly well. And 2 days before, he was out with his brothers and his sisters, just sort of playing soccer in the front yard, just sort of fooling around with a ball. And the ball rolled into the street, and he never heard the truck that ran him over. And when he told me that, it was just, there was this profound sadness that came over me, and also a sense that this was colossally unfair. You had a person who could have been a president of that country, who all of a sudden was maimed by a disease that was preventable, and then killed from a complication of that particular disease. And that clearly wasn't right. And so that episode, I think, has certainly helped stir me to really, at times when times have been difficult, to basically say that no, we really have to press on. We've got to finish with this so that this doesn't happen again.